This is Trevor Mead, social worker, and I am performing my second interview. How's it going, man?
Hey, man. How you doing?
I'm alright. What's your name?
I'm Dino.
Dino. I'm Trevor, man. Nice to meet you.
It's nice to meet you. I like your
Have a
place.
seat anywhere you want. So, what you been doing all day?
Nothing. I'm taking a semester off from school, so I've kind of
Sure.
just been hanging out and not
Oh,
really
yeah?
doing too much. Don't really
Aren't you
have-
lucky? So, for the purpose of this interview, I wanted to, it's okay to take notes, right?
Oh, yeah, that's fine.
Okay. For the purpose of this interview, I wanted to brush on confidentiality and anything you say. The only person that will hear this is my teacher that has to watch. So anything else that you say will be kept in confidential. Confidential matter. Is that fine with you?
Yeah, it's fine.
And at the end, I'd like to. If you don't want to answer anything, then you don't have to. If something if it makes you feel uncomfortable, or anything of that matter, then you don't have to answer. Is that cool?
That's fine.
Okay. And at the end, I request that you provide me with feedback. Of anything that I can do better as a social worker, or anything else you need help with. I request that at the end you provide me with that. Is that fine?
Yeah.
Okay. So, what day were you born on?
I was born on May 18th, 1991.
Okay. Where are you from?
I'm actually from Serbia, which is in Eastern Europe.
Okay. And how'd you get here?
Well, there was a war.
Okay.
And it was the Bosnian War, which happened in the early 90s. And there was three sides fighting it: the Croatians, the Bosnians, and the Serbians. So my dad, he's Bosnian, and my mom is Serbian. So they were together during the war, before the war started. And then when the war broke out, my dad, I'm from Belgrade, which is the capital of Serbia. So
Belgrade?
Yeah.
How do you spell that?
Belgrade.
Okay, Belgrade, Serbia.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry to interrupt you.
You're really fine. My dad wasn't safe in the capital because he was Bosnian and he was in the capital of one of the countries that was in the war, so he wasn't safe there. So he thought it'd be the best idea to move to Switzerland, which is, it's a neutral country. They took in refugees during the war and everything.
Sure.
And so he left. Well, me and my mom, we stayed in Serbia because I was a toddler. I was about 6 months old when everything broke out. And he decided to leave, but he couldn't leave Serbia legally.
Right.
Because if anybody would have caught him on the border, he would have gone straight either to a concentration camp or he would have just gotten shot right on the spot.
Sure.
So he used, through his family and just friends, connections in different countries. He had to hop from Serbia to Croatia to Austria, back into Croatia,
Wow.
to Italy, back into Austria, back into Italy again before he finally got up to Switzerland. And
wow.
So this whole time he's crossing borders illegally, trying to get out, trying to make sure he doesn't get caught, because if he gets caught, he'll either get shot. It's just not gonna. It's just like if anybody gets caught here crossing the border, you get in a bunch of trouble.
So the reason, sorry to cut you off. What's the reason why he went from Austria, from Serbia to Croatia to Austria to Croatia to Italy, and then back to Austria to Italy to Switzerland? What's the reason for that crossing back and forth?
Well, he had to because he was basically the whole time he couldn't use his Bosnian identification.
Okay.
So he was either using fake identification or other people's identification to get across the borders.
Wow.
And he had to, and most of the time he would have to hike. He would have to hike across.
Right.
He'd have to go to and this was it probably took him a good 3 or 4 months to do all this in the winter.
Sure.
So he had to, he was just going through forest. He was with groups of people, with he knew some of the people he had no idea who they were because they were all just trying to escape.
Sure.
And it was just, trying to figure out how to word it the best.
Take your time.
Just
Take your time. So it was like, okay, I'm sorry, go ahead.
oh no, you're fine. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I think you were about.
Was what was the? I was going to ask you maybe to get your brain going. What the reason was that he was doing this?
He just wanted a better life for us
Better
because
life.
there was a war going on there. He had a cafe there, and he was making really good money off of it. For somebody, he was about 30, 32 years old, somewhere around there.
Sure.
And for somebody his age, we had like a comfortable, like very comfortable living. You could almost say it was like an upper class living for somebody. And after the war broke out, he couldn't do that anymore because police would come into his bar, military, and he had a cafe bar pretty much, and it just wasn't safe for him, and he had wanted to move because it was way too risky for him. He didn't want to.
Sure.
He didn't want to jeopardize anything. His freedom.
Sure. Well, it sounds really like you got an interesting family. At this point, just so I could, I've learned some information about your family. At this point, would it be okay if we did a little eco map of your family, just to kind of fully really grasp your family?
That's really fun.
Okay, I've got an eco map over here. I'll send a scoot over here for those purposes. So we'll start off. A square is a male, and a circle is a female. Okay, so let's see here. We will start with you. Here's you. Okay. Do you have any siblings?
Yes, I have a little sister.
Little sister. What's your name?
Vanessa.
Okay.
Spelled with one S.
One S. Vanessa.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. Now your parents are still together, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Here is your dad. What's your dad's name?
Senad.
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 Okay. And then you have your mother's name. What's your mother's name?
Slajna.
How do you spell that?
Sladjana.
Okay. What about their parents?
They're both living, so.
Okay, so we'll go to Senad's. We'll go to your father's parents. Your father's parents, and okay, are they in the United States?
No, they live in Switzerland.
Switzerland, okay. So your family's kind of spread out, huh?
Oh, my family is very spread out. They're all over the world.
Okay. So what's your So this would be your father's parents.
Yes.
What are their names?
Ismet.
How do you spell that?
Ismet.
Okay. Okay. And what's the wife's name?
Belkisa.
How do you spell that?
Belkisa.
Okay. 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 How old are they?
My grandpa is 82.
Okay.
And my grandmother is 73.
I forgot to ask you, how old are your parents?
My parents, they are 52 and 42. My
Okay.
dad's 52 and my mother's 42.
Okay. What about your mother's parents?
They're both also living still.
Wow. Okay. Where are they living at?
They are in Belgrade.
Okay, Belgrade,
Serbia.
Serbia. Okay. What are their names?
Branko for my grandpa.
How do you spell that? Okay. Okay. Okay.
BRANKO.
Okay. And the other one?
Ljubica.
How do you spell that? Okay.
LJUBICA.
Okay. 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 How old are they?
They are in their. They're both in their 70s. I can't
Okay,
remember
that's
in exact
fine.
detail.
Yeah, that's fine. Just to get a little grasp on your family. Okay. Let's see here. So, I'm just getting a hold of your. Is there any more of your immediate family?
What do you mean by immediate family? Like anybody?
Anybody this eco map is basically a whole circle.
Well, does that count aunts and uncles?
Yeah, you can put on here. You,
if that's immediate,
anybody,
if that counts as immediate.
yeah, it can. It depends how I know. I guess if you're gonna if you're gonna include aunts and uncles, I guess you're pretty close to them. What do you have any? How many do you have actually?
My dad has 2 brothers.
Dad, 2 brothers.
And my mom has 2 sisters.
Big family.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not even going to include cousins because we would be here all
How
night.
how many cousins do you think you have?
First cousins, I have at least 15.
Okay. How about seconds?
There's no telling.
No telling?
In Bosnia, Serbia, everybody's
Sure.
kind of related.
Sure. Well, you got a big family, huh? Could you imagine what it would be like if they were all in Bowling Green for Christmas?
Oh my goodness.
Be big.
Too many presents.
Yeah, okay. Well, that's good to be able to know, to be able to know that, that I have a good grasp on your family. There's an eco map that we did. Okay, back over here. So, what's the problem that you came to talk to me about now that we've actually figured out, a family, and I've actually figured out a little about you? What's the problem that you've come to me today?
I'm just kind of having problems with school lately, hence why I took this semester off.
Sure.
Just, I haven't been quite as motivated,
Okay.
I guess you could say.
Okay.
Go ahead.
How do you feel about taking a semester off?
I like it because it's letting me try to get my head on straight, but at the same time I have way too much free time and just I don't really have too much to keep me occupied.
Yeah. What do you do in your free time?
Hang out at home. I used to have a full-time job with my father, but that didn't really work out. So during the day I'll just watch TV. I'll do stuff around the house, like I'll mow the lawn or I'll just do yard work.
What happened with the full-time job with your father? If you don't mind me asking, you don't have to answer it if you don't want to.
Oh, that's completely fine. I'll answer. He runs a pretty decent-sized business here, and sometimes me and him get into it a little bit,
Sure.
and when we would get into it at home, that would affect my job.
Sure.
So, anytime we would get into a fight at home, I wouldn't come into work because it would just be too weird. Or just
Sure. It happens. That happened a lot of the father son relationships tend to be the best ones, but they actually just tend to butt heads all the time.
Yeah.
That's what I learned in my practice. Okay. So let me summarize what you have said. You're taking a semester off because you're frustrated. Would that be a safe word to say?
Yeah.
You're frustrated. Your lack of motivation, and you like it. It's bittersweet. Because you and your dad, you don't mind earning some money if you're not in school, but it's frustrating too because of that your dad, and you butt heads all the time.
Yeah.
Is that about right?
Yeah.
Okay.
We butt heads at home, and
Sure.
we mix the home life and work,
Sure.
and that hardly ever works out well.
Okay. So, how is your school life?
I mean, sorry about that.
It's okay.
I mean, it's not bad. Actually, last semester was awful because I really didn't care at all. I didn't go to my classes. I had a girlfriend. I would stay at her house until about 5 in the morning.
Wow.
Then I would go. I'm supposed to have class at 9 in the morning. After that, so I'd get home. Around 5:30.
It's pretty hard to do.
Yeah.
You have 4 hours to recoup, right?
Yeah, and instead that 4 hours would probably turn into around noon.
Oh.
I just missed my classes.
Yeah, okay. I can see how that is. So your sister that we identified in the eco map, Vanessa. How does she do in school?
She is polar opposite from me. She is a genius. Well, I think she's officially labeled as a genius.
Is that what your parents say?
Yeah, I think that's what IQ tests say. I'm pretty sure her IQ test. I
Okay.
think she got about a 142, which is I guess 2 points above a genius.
So, so your parents praise her, right?
Yes, because she basically she has perfect grades. She's
Right.
a junior now. She got a 30 on the ACT.
Wow.
She's in AP classes. Her GPA is above a 4.0.
Wow.
She gets letters from colleges about 15 times a week.
Wow.
She's very gifted.
How does that make you feel?
Well, I'm happy for her, but as the older child, they expected me to be the one. They expected me to be the one to. I should be an example for her, not her overachieving me.
Sure, because you're the older brother, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Which
so,
I mean, I wasn't bad in school. I got a 31 on the ACT,
sure.
but I just all through high school I didn't study. I didn't really care. I just went out, just hung out with friends, partied, just all that kind of stuff. And
so your parents are smart too, huh?
yeah, they're smart. My dad's got his master's. My mom,
Wow.
she works for a hospital. So I mean,
Okay.
they're fairly smart individuals.
Okay. So what I'm collecting here, again, to summarize, if there's anything I have wrong, then just let me know, just so I can grasp the whole story. What I'm collecting here is that your sister is, it's so short term, the golden child, and your parents are kind of putting pressure on you because of your sister. You're the older child, like you just said, and maybe it sounds like you're putting pressure, on yourself because because you are the older person.
Yeah.
And so you have that label that you have to do better, because your sister has to follow in your footsteps. So, I can see that getting to you, as a problem in school because, some people don't deal well under pressure. Some people thrive under pressure. Which kind of, which do you thrive under pressure, or do you kind of more as shut down under pressure?
Pressure hasn't really gotten to me all too much.
Okay.
My main problem, I feel like, is that I don't care enough about school.
Okay.
I should be. I'm a 21-year-old, so I should be caring about my future because I'm about to be in the real world as soon as school's over.
Sure.
And instead, I'm not really caring too much. I didn't really care too much about my grades.
Sure. So what do you want to be?
I'm trying to be an orthodontist.
Wow.
Yeah.
A lot more money than I'll be making.
Oh man, if I can get into school.
That's the truth. Okay. So we are struggling with motivation.
Mm-hmm.
Will you describe that a little bit?
Well, this probably started around when I was 20 years old.
Okay, so
Somewhere
just
around
last
there.
year.
This past summer. I mean, it's March now, so that's summer. This past summer and the summer before that, I would go out, party. I used to smoke pot a lot.
Understandable.
Very, very heavily, like every day.
Understandable.
All summer. I'd wake up, go hang out with friends, smoke some pot.
So, what I'm getting here, I could be completely wrong. Would pot be considered a crutch to you? A crutch is in saying, okay, you have problems with your parents at home, just family, just all the pressures that your parents put on you at school. Would it be safe to say this? That, I don't want to lead you into saying this, yes, but would it be safe to say that, pot would be your pain reliever?
I guess you could say that.
Okay.
I wanted to have fun.
Sure.
And and smoking pot was fun at the time. It was during just the summer. It was nice and warm and pretty outside. So why not go out and smoke a little weed, make the day better?
Okay. And that kind of just, with that kind of just made everything else, all the rest of the problems go away, right?
Yeah.
That's what I was shown in my studies with it. Okay. So, what do you think smoking pot? What do you think it ultimately did to you?
It made me not care. I had a long-term girlfriend at the time. We've been dating since I was 18, and I lied to her about it.
Okay.
and I cared more about smoking pot than I did our relationship.
Sure.
She caught me doing it one time. I told her I'd stop, but I continued on doing it for another year after she caught me. And finally, she caught me again, and we stopped dating because of it.
Sure.
It was just at the time I prioritized it over.
It's just not how you were thinking at the time, right?
Yeah, my mindset.
It kind of thinks gets you thinking irrational and especially if a lot of people are there's no physical addiction of pot, but there's a psychological addiction that's a medium risk.
Yeah, I completely denied that.
Sure.
At the time, everybody would tell me, "Oh, you have to smoke pot, this and that." And I was like, "No, it's not physically addicting.
Sure.
I'm completely fine." But now that I'm sober, I think back on it, and I think, yeah, it was definitely. I definitely wanted to smoke pot. I would wake up in the morning. I wouldn't even have to have a reason to. I'd be like, "Okay, let's smoke some pot."
Sure. No, I understand, and like I told you before, that all this should be in confidentiality, so you can fully disclose how you feel about anything you want to. So, with that being said, what about school? Is there any way that school and pot are related?
Oh, yeah. I would go into class. I'd wake up in the morning, have an 8 a.m. class. I would get high before, and then come into class and just not really care. I would just, and I mean, when you're high, your memory really isn't as good.
Sure.
You don't really care what's going on. You're just really relaxed.
Sure.
And school just wasn't interesting at the time.
Okay. You think that you took a semester off? Is it you said it was school related, so pot kind of.
Well, what happened was I stopped my past semester, which was the fall of 2012.
Mm-hmm.
I had stopped smoking pot that August.
Okay.
But I still didn't. I think I had just smoked. I don't want to use it as an excuse, but I just smoked so much that I didn't really care anymore that much about school, because my mindset was, oh, I've been in school for so long, I don't care what happens, blah blah blah. It didn't really matter all too much to me how school was, because I had my girlfriend who I was with all the time.
Sure.
And I kind of prioritized her over school.
Yeah, it happens.
So instead of motivating myself for school, I motivated myself to keep her happy. And I don't know, it just kind of, that last semester just didn't work. I just didn't go to my classes.
It happens. So, let's see here. Tell me about your girlfriend. That was she putting any pressure on you for school? Anything like that? Was she in school?
Yeah, she's in school. I'm a junior. She's a freshman.
Sure.
And she wasn't really I was actually trying to motivate her. I was motivating her more than I did myself. I would push her to go to her classes, push her to study.
Sure.
Because I wanted her to do well, but I put myself on the back burner.
Yeah, I understand that. You think you're putting too much attention on her and not enough on yourself?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I used to stay it'd be a school night. I would just stay at her house until 5 in the morning.
Yeah, you told me that. That's a little rough. I can't even last on 10 hours of sleep. That's rough. I know how it is. Where's she from?
She's from Glasgow.
Okay. Wow. That's how many minutes does it take to get there?
It takes about 30, 40 minutes to get there, depending on traffic.
Okay.
So it's 30 minutes there, 30 minutes back.
Okay. So what I'm getting at here to draw back and summarize. Number one, you were just coming off the verge of smoking, and you just really weren't, didn't care about anything. Number two, I can kind of sense that the pressure from your parents that you talked about, and the little sister, it kind of gets to you. I can see that. Number three, the fact that you actually, did the gentleman thing to do, which was put your girlfriend, before you and force her to become better, and you were taking too much time, and putting it on her and not focusing on your studies.
Yeah.
Like you said, till 5 o'clock in the morning. You have class at what you said 9.
Yeah.
and then you would, you would end up sleeping through 12.
Mm-hmm.
And how would that make you feel when you miss your class?
Honestly, I didn't really care all too much.
Sure.
I'd set an alarm
Yeah.
for about 8:45, get up, brush my teeth, take a quick shower, and walk up to class. But instead, that's what I should have done. But instead,
Mm-hmm.
I would get the alarm would go off, I would just slide to cancel and just go right back to sleep.
Sure.
And I would sit there and think when I was sliding it, I need to go to class, but then I was just so exhausted. There was just no way. There was no way I was leaving
I
my
understand
bed.
completely. I understand. I've had to get up early my fair share of times, and I know it's very difficult. Especially running on 4 hours of sleep. So my next question to you, with all that being said, how do you think we can fix this? You're the expert of your own life.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you think? I'm sure you have some idea. I will help guide you through it, but I'm sure you have some idea. How we can empower you. To become remotivated, and because I assume you'll be in school next semester, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm actually registering tomorrow.
Okay. That's I just gathered that from the way you talk, because it sounds like you really got yourself together for this semester. This semester you took off. So, let's see here. What do you think you can do to come back and just smack it next semester?
I just need to know that this is my life, and nobody's going to do anything except for myself when it comes to my life.
That sounds good.
I have to push myself. I have to get my drive back. Which, I mean, this semester off, I've realized I have way too much free time. I'm not doing anything important with my life. The only thing I really do that's even worth mentioning is I go work out. I try to work out as much as I can just because it has time, because I have so much extra time.
Sure. Okay, so you really sound like you have a sense of resiliency. That you can when you put your mind to it. I'm pointing out what a social work term called a strange perspective, and using that with empowerment. You really sound like you have a sense of resiliency. Motivation it can break anything. But once you get that motivation together, you really seem like you really can be successful.
Yeah, I hope so.
Being that the orthodontist that you told me that you wanted to be.
Mm-hmm.
So what else do you think would help you be motivated?
I mean, I know how comfortably I'll live. I know it's bad to say because money shouldn't be a reason.
Sure, no, that's fine.
But as an orthodontist, I know I'll be living comfortably my entire life. I'm not really gonna have to worry about money or anything. So that's just I'll assure that my family, which I'm gonna have in the future, will live comfortably, not have to really worry too much, and it'll just be. I mean, that's kind of one of my reasons that I would want to do it.
Sure.
And as well as, because I myself have lived pretty comfortably my entire life.
Sure.
So I can't see myself being being poor,
sure.
I guess you could say, lower class or anything like that.
Sure.
Which that's part of the reason why that's what's kind of going to start driving me, just because I don't want to. And another reason, I just don't want to fail. I don't want to be a failure to my parents too.
Yeah, I understand. Okay, so from here, I've gathered up everything, and I have listed some homework for you to, just small things, because some people, I don't know your learning style, and some people like to, to go from smaller steps to bigger steps instead of doing this huge major jump. So I started out with some small, ideas for you to do. The first one being, envision yourself graduating. If you before you achieve, you must believe. And if you picture yourself graduating, I know it's a little bit away, plus dental school and all that, but just picture yourself not just graduating from WKU, but just picture yourself graduating in the sense of pride that you've accomplished, by saying, I am now an orthodontist. I want you to, at first I want you to imagine that, and that could be a factor, of motivation.
Mm-hmm.
I want you to, to look up the pay. I mean, I'm sure you know the general idea, since you talk about being successful.
Yeah.
The pay for a job, that can also be used as motivation.
Mm-hmm.
Within social work, I'm not going into it for the money, but to help. But money still is a motivating factor,
Mm-hmm.
and that's the second thing I want you to do. From our talk, we don't seem like you have anything more. Like you said, I used to smoke and now I'm sober, which is good. It's a good thing
Mm-hmm.
because pot can really honestly make you unmotivated. So where there's no homework on that one, that I'm gonna give to you. But the third one, I want you to talk to your parents and tell them that the pressure that they put on you really stresses you out, and just tell them that that you're doing the best you can, and they should support you. And other than that, man, that's all I got for you. So I appreciate you taking your time to come in today. And at this moment, I would like to ask you for feedback. Did I address all of your issues that you came in for?
Yes, you did.
Okay. Is there anything else that you want help with, or anything else?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. Well, at this time we will close the interview, and I will lead you to the door. And I appreciate it for being able to interview.
Thank you.
And we will get in touch in a couple weeks.
Have a good day.
See you later. Done.